I don't know if it's gonna work this time, but it's like the third time we're trying to go live on YouTube. It's the process through live stream that you gotta walk down. And if it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. It ain't been working all this time. 3 times straight. Let's see if it's working. Look like it's working. Oh shit. It's like how the fuck you gonna live stream shit if the puss ass platform don't work. Anyway, Lil Durk, who knows so far. And his life is kind of fucked up. He made mistakes, you know what I'm saying? And as we all see, that shit is like life threatening mistakes. Like he really put himself in a bind. And now there's no turning back. You know, so many people talking about it. And so much shit has come out about his scenario. It's really sad, you know what I'm saying? Because you think that a person is a millionaire and they would not be trying to send themselves up a river like that. But you know, being young and a lack of better words, dumb. What else do he know? You know, he grew up fucked up, grew up in a terrible environment, no father, and all this shit. And now, well, his dad was in prison. He had a dad, but he was in prison, so he didn't have nobody to really talk to and help raise him. So that meant he went to the streets with his friends, and that meant no guidance. So they just running wild in the street, and that's how it is when you grow up in the hood. I grew up in the hood my whole life, and when you grow up in the hood, you be around your friends, you be around your homies. And when I was a kid, you basically was outside. There was no video games and shit like that, so you had to go outside to even play video games. So somebody like Dirk, you see him and you thinking that he gonna be able to make it out. He did make it out, like you know, millions of dollars in the bank, cars, houses, pretty girlfriends. You making your dream come true and making rap. It's like what the fuck went wrong? Like what happened? You know what I'm saying? You would assume that the guy got enough sense to not get caught up in some shit that's gonna send him up the fucking river. But he wasn't that smart, and it looked like it's gonna be a repercussion behind his actions, whether he actually had something to do with it or not, because there's rumors coming out now that he did not have nothing to do with that paperwork, which is the credit card payments for the other guy to take their flights. It's information coming out that that's not accurate. That the feds are saying it is accurate. That exactly what happened. That he took flights, and in those flights that came from his credit card, OTF for the family, uh, credit card payment to pay for the flights for him to leave town. But I don't know if that's true because ultimately this rumor spreading around the internet that it was another company that actually paid for those flights. So if it was another company that paid for those flights, another company credit card, and it wasn't only the family credit card, then that gets Lil Durk off from that situation. Now I'm sure they talked to the guy who credit card it was, and he probably was acting like he didn't know nothing was about it. But I don't, you know, if he was not a black person, they probably not gonna put him in jail or try to put him in jail or shit like that. So that means they really want the big fish, which is Dirk, and it's a whole lot of conversations and information out there about this whole thing, and it's just really crazy. You know, success is something that a lot of people want to get to, but you see that it's easy to get taken down. And I even look at it like this: they tripping about Dirk and them. None of this stuff came out after they realized that that old girl Kamala Harris wasn't going to win no presidency, and now all of a sudden it's this hard left turn that they taking, and now they coming after black men. And so you got Dirk down, you got Diddy down, you got, you know what I'm saying? Like they are not letting up. They're making sure that they make, and these are huge artists. So if something happened to them, it's international news. And that's exactly what they want us to all know, that it's something going on. And so these guys who we used to admire or fuck with, now they pariahs. Now they somebody who you ain't supposed to pay attention to and look at them in some bad way. So for for that young bro, I just say that he said, can you imagine this? You was at your mansion with your pretty girlfriend or your pretty girls, and you chilling. You got the private chef who's gonna slide it down, make the food. The money coming in because they loving your music. You traveling. You at concerts. You doing the shit. You know what I'm saying? You could take care of your people if they call you. You could send money, and then all of a sudden, you sit in a jail cell. You sitting in a cold ass cell. They ain't answering your conversation. They bothering you, tweaking. People know you in the building, so they yelling all this bullshit down the line to you motherfuckers who is able to talk to you. They able to say shit like, "Hey, boy, brought your back in here, motherfuckers gunning for you." Da, da, da. Shorty been in jail a few times, so I know he ain't scared. But he out of town. You're in another state. So how do you handle threats from other inmates, threats from the police at the jail cell? It's like put you in a upend you. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like making a deal with the devil, like they say. You heard those statements in a day where they say you make a deal with the devil, and they give you everything you want, but then one day he won't what he wanted back. He want what's back, or he want his payment back, and then it almost be your life that he want. All the time it's your life. Well, a lot of times when you see scenarios like this, that's the first thing a person think about is, hey, it's your life now that you got to give up. And when you see that, it almost is saying it loud. Like, yeah, he was out there living a certain lifestyle. He had money, he had girls, but ultimately he had to give up his own life in order to keep it, in order for him to have it in the beginning. So now the devil wants his time back. And because I don't see how Dirk was thinking about retaliating for old boy 2 years later. To me, from from how it sounds, because none of us, all of us, are like internet lawyers and detectives. Nobody know. We don't know Dirk. We wasn't friends. 20 some years younger than me, so I would have never even ran into him in life. But the reality of it is, we know that the government guns for young black men, especially financially stable black men, but regular black men too. Like, it's a history of that in America. So, they build a guy up and then they tear him down right in front of your face, and they expect you to agree to. You know what I'm saying? The micro Vicks on down, and it don't matter who you think they are or what you believe they are. If the masses believe these people are pariahs or bad people, you're supposed to agree, and that's dumb. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, some of the people are bad. But when it comes to somebody like P. Diddy or whatever, who for 30 years you expected or believed this person was somebody to like, and then all of a sudden it's like hate them. Imagine a younger generation. What's going on? Imagine a generation that's younger than me who looked up to Dirk, and all of a sudden they saying murder for hire. Some people are gonna be like, man, fuck him. And then some people are gonna be like, no, fuck that. I'm still riding with my boy. I love him. Because that's what fandom is, being a fan of somebody and loving somebody art. You don't want to give up on them because the media necessarily don't like them, and that's really all the fucking people that don't like them, because the people who don't like them in their own life, they never said this shit. So the same thing with the guy. And I even said something. I said it's probably not hard for Dirk to beat his case, because if you think about it, he could easily be like, they stole my identity. And see, if I was a lawyer and if I was his lawyer, that's what I would be saying. I'd be like, they stole his motherfucking identity. They stole his credit card. These motherfuckers are scammers. So they got history of that shit. And that's the only way Dirk was able to even be associated with these guys, because otherwise they would not even come in contact with each other. But because it seemed like if the person who was setting everything up, from the information I'm seeing, use his own credit card or use his own name on signing up with the credit card, in like for the flights or whatever, that doesn't even make sense. They say that he went to the store and bought 4 ski bags, and then he went and bought the vehicles, the luxury sedans, so the guys could get in the vehicles and ride around and do the murders. And it's like, what? Like, who the fuck does that? Like, go to a place and then rent with your real name, and then get hotels in your real name, like, and then get flights in your real name. Like, that don't seem like a criminal activity. That seemed like somebody who knew they was trying to leave a trail, so that it could circle back, and he could easily say, hey, old boy, put me up to it. And so I don't know. Obviously, don't know if that's true. Obviously, it could be that Dirk paid him. But the whole thing about it is that, for Dirk's perspective, that would be a good way of fighting this and saying, I didn't have shit to do with that. And I know they got the text message saying, don't put nothing in my name, but shit, you could say that about anything and to anybody. Especially if you hear something through the grapevine. Like people start running up to you like, hey man, motherfucker's trying to do some shit, da da da. And you like, what? Wait, okay, let me send out a blast text to motherfuckers, whoever, know your name and number. Hey, y'all spread this rumor so they don't, they are obviously going to use that against him in the court of law because that's what the lawyers and judges and shit do. But his lawyers could easily say he's making a message out to a global message to whoever is listening. You know what I'm saying? Don't fucking put my name in nothing. I think they're trying to say that he emailed the particular guy directly, which is, you got to prove that. You know what I'm saying? So there's ways that he could beat it, but I think what make it look worse for him is the fact that he tried to flee the country, or so they saying, because there's ways to beat that. He could easily be like, man, my family was going on several trips, or me and my girl was going to see the world, whatever. You can't make my movements be criminal unless I'm doing criminal behavior. And the masses can't make me be a part of a criminal moment unless I admit that. Or the person can't make me say I was in a crime with him unless it's proof that I was privy to the crime. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like if we was in a car together and a guy jumped out and robbed the store, robbed the bank, and you was in the passenger seat, you didn't go inside the store. You're not privy to that crime. You don't even know what the fuck just happened. You didn't go in the store. So if the police pull you over and say both of y'all are going down for robbery, you're gonna be like, what the fuck you talking about? But the fact of the matter is that you wasn't on video. You didn't go in the store. The person didn't see you, and the cops can't prove that you was involved with the knowledge of that crime. However, the person in the driver's seat who went inside could say, "Yeah, he gave me the gun. Yeah, I told him ahead of time." Obviously, if that happens, then you got to fight against that person. But the reality of it is the company you keep. So that comes back down to Dirk knowing people from his childhood and people who was friends. Maybe only the family is a bunch of people. That's his actual family. Maybe only the family is a bunch of guys from his neighborhood. I'm way old. I don't know too much about their personal lives like that. But from the government coming down on them, it's international news. So it's like those people could have been trying to set him up. They could have been guys who don't like him no more, or got jealous, or felt like he didn't move fast enough in that particular scenario, which is retaliating for Vine. So if they felt that way, then they could easily try to devise a plan. It doesn't seem logical because the guys would be tricking off their whole life. And that's 4 or 5 guys choosing to do that. Might not seem too logical that they're gonna come together and say, yo, all of us gonna just crash out. We're gonna make sure Dirk go down for this, man. He ain't gonna he left old boy hanging and shit after he got him locked up. So you just would not know if that's actually true, you know what I'm saying? And then another thing that's coming out is they saying that some brother named OTF Jam is the person who actually told on him, or wore wire or whatever that he's supposed to have, who did 12 years in prison, and his baby mama had got killed during the time he got locked up in prison. So I assume, or they assume in the internet, that he was supposed to get somebody to ride out for him or retaliate for him. You understand what I'm saying? But that didn't happen. So when he got home, now he felt like, okay, I'm gonna get my revenge by setting up Dirk. Is that the truth? You don't know. Obviously, the guy not coming out claiming he didn't do that, but the internet is using his face. So almost all of these videos talking about they know for a fact this happened, or they believe that this guy did that. So how the hell would you know if it's true? Just wouldn't. We'll see if anybody's talking about it. If they are, I'll try to play a little snippet.
like someone may have been in the car and hopped out and ran and fled the scene. Like I said, back in March of 2024, she was 28 years old. It happened in Orland Park, Illinois. And, basically what they're alleging is that these three gunmen who were eventually arrested, either they was sent the location of OTF Jam and his baby mother, or, they just happened to see him and, quickly made the phone call and tried to, execute the hit on OTF Jam. It's alleged that as far back as the death of Lil Pab itself, that OTF and Lil Durk had, their lawyers had ears out on potential people talking and giving information to the feds. Everybody is getting it wrong about the OTF Jam baby mother situation, not because the story is wrong, but because the picture that they're showing of that postal worker was actually a different postal spreading that in that area of the neighborhood he ran back to.
Yeah, so it's a lot of that too. So the information is skewed. So who did this really happen? Like, did the baby mother get killed? But that, I remember that story of the dark skinned brother, the sister. I don't remember the story of the other guys. Actual baby mother, but rest in peace to all of them, because it's the news. If you don't catch the news, you didn't see it. But that's something that people are saying, that his mother actually, I mean, the girl actually died, and then I guess Durk was blaming his homies for not having her back or having his back in retaliation for that. This is all rumorville. Don't mean none of that's true. You know what I'm saying? Because if you see the videos from the particular guy, OTF Jam, he fucks with Durk. He rocks with Durk, and he says he rocks with Durk. These guys don't talk like that. You know what I'm saying? They're very low key about the stuff that they deal with, especially in a scenario like this where it's international news and everybody knows what's going on, and it's like everybody feel like they know what's going on, and the news and the media is talking about it. You can't find anything on the internet that's not talking about the Durk situation. Actually, it's really sad, because with him being so young, 31, 32, his birthday was like a week or two ago. It's you can't imagine somebody leaving the South or leaving their world to go sit in jail. It's because he's so young. And then it's like you have millions of dollars. People go to jail for not having nothing. And they have put everything on the line in their life because they got nothing. And it don't matter what the fuck they call it crash out. They crash out because they ain't got shit. And it's like, I don't care. I I do remember that story. That girl, because I remember I see a picture. I remember seeing a picture on it. There's another person talking something about. That was a big story. So, you know, it's all this stuff that you would know is the truth behind it. Yeah, is that the reason why he wanted to get mad at Dirk and all that stuff? That's what the rumor's saying, but they friends. They wouldn't really know. So it's stuff like that. So you got the credit card scenario that could be connected to him, but people are saying it wasn't. It was another company that gave the guy the money to get the private flight, because that's really what it come down to, that private flight, that the initial person that started the scenario of retaliation towards uh, Quando Rondo started was was able to afford a private flight, and that's hard. That's not financially. You have to be up to be able to do that. So then the question would be, who is the person? How is he able to afford How is he able to afford that? And if he's not like somebody with a good record of making money or some kind of business or some kind of scenario, then he's not going to be able to afford that. So what they're going to be able to say is, you were able to get the money from working for Lil Durk, because Lil Durk got the money to pay you for a service or whatever, and then you're able to now pay for the gas that it takes to pay for a flight and book it and whatever it takes when you get in town. So it's a lot of money got to be involved in that. So that's why I would say that they tried to connect Dirk to it because they're trying to look at it as if this was your beef from the music. I don't know nothing about it too much, obviously, but I know that Trap Lord, which is a YouTube guy, he a white person from like Europe. He said, but he got a YouTube channel, and he said that Young Boy and Vine, King Vine, had a beef over some girl. Her name is Asian Doll, I think, and that's what kicked everything off. So then that started him not liking the other younger guy, Quando Rondo, who was on the Young Boy, NBA Young Boy. And then that made Dirk get involved because it's like, okay, that's my buddy King Von. So that was now all of a sudden it's this dramatic conversation or arguments that they have. And most times when it's some beef, that's really something that people can't walk away from is over a female. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? Guys have a lot of testosterone, and then if girls get around or come around, then it's like, hey, fuck that. We gotta fucking battle this out or whatever. And then the girl end up. Because imagine if Dirk go to prison for life, and then the other guy is in jail for his crimes. 20. I mean, young boy, or then the other boy Vaughn get murdered. So now the girl ain't got none of y'all. So then who's she gonna be with? Some NBA basketball player with $1 million. She's not gonna be sitting around talking about I miss these dudes and what happened. She goes gonna get with somebody with more money and they gonna remember you. And it'll be like what at one time she might come visit you, or 2 or 3 times she come visit you, and dude in the car waiting, or he's sitting right next to her in the place, like, yo, hey, put me on that too. You know what I'm saying? We cool. I don't mean no harm. She can't be out here by herself. Whatever. And so nobody wins the girl. If this was about a girl, nobody wins the girl. So it's like, then the other guy, obviously, they come with the retaliation for King Von and they want to kill this boy, Quando Rondo. But I looked up the ages too, and Von was 2 years younger than Dirk. So that means this year he was probably 30. But the other boy, Rondo, who they didn't like, he was like 25. Like he's way younger than them. You know what I'm saying? So that's what made me think about it. Like, well, damn, why do I like this dude? He's so young and shit. Like they shouldn't even be crossing paths. You're only 4 years younger than the people who you know from high school. So that's a freshie to a senior is kind of a nice stretch. So somebody 7 years younger than you was like, how the fuck you even care about this person? But through rap beefs, through drama, through I don't like you, you don't like me, it turns into that. You know what I'm saying? Where the guys just turn into this beef that can't go away. So, but Dirk can beat this case if he get his lawyers activated, and hopefully they can get him a bond. But the way they saying he was trying to flee the country, you see, they got the same argument for Diddy and Rondo. What's his name? Dirk. So it's like, yeah, both of y'all, you cannot leave the country. You tried to flee. You know what I'm saying? So now they got to sit their ass in jail and not go nowhere. And that don't feel good. I don't give a damn who you are. Even if you did the crime, you don't want to be in the jail. You didn't think about the jail part. It's like shit. So I really don't know what's going to happen with the Dirk situation, but I know that everybody all have counted him out on the internet. It seemed like he's done, and that could be true. That really could be true. That because the feds moved in on him, and it don't seem like it's gonna go away. If you think about it, about a week ago, everybody was talking about how Big Meech had made it home from prison and what his life was gonna be like, and it was just like this real frenzy online about Big Meech coming home, and now Big Meech get a chance to be free and start anew. But within a whip of a newscast, all of a sudden it's all about Dirk and how he got arrested for murder for hire. And I mean, think about that. He's locked up in Florida and in some correctional center, whatever it is, like a holding place, detention center, whatever they call it. And it's gang shit out there, because it's gang shit everywhere. And so now you pop in there and you're a BD and nobody in the whole place is a BD. You know what I'm saying? What do you do? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you deal with this? That's why they keep the guys locked away for 23 and 1. So that's another element of it that he probably wasn't. Well, he probably been in jail before because he's young. You know, you can go to jail when you're young. But now they lock you up and then you in the jail for 23 hours and one. When you used to be free. You was running around concerting, wearing new clothes, fresh dip gear, putting your chain on, jumping in your car, going in the backyard, whatever you was doing. And now it's like, bam, now you in the jail cell 23 and one. And they claim some stupid ass crime on you. So it's like a mandatory minimum is what the federal government call it. So that means if you get convicted, it's mandatory that you do these at least minimum years. So call it a mandatory minimum. It is 30 years for murder for hire. It's a 30-year mandatory minimum. So that means that come to him and say, yo, I see that you want to fight this case and you want to go to trial. If you go to trial, we give you prison, what they call it life or the death penalty. I don't know which one it is. But or you could just take this 30 years. Take this 30 years and go to your ass home. At 64, 62. They might let you out at 60. But you go in it for 30 years. That's the mandatory minimum. That's why you don't want to be in a scenario like that. Could you imagine having to make that decision? Where it's a mandatory minimum of 30 years. Or if you fight it, you can get life or even a death penalty. And you only 32 years old. You just had a birthday like fucking a week ago. And they come to you, your lawyers is hitting you up with this already. Obviously, you're gonna say, man, fuck that, I'm going to trial because you got money. And you thinking like if I get free or if I pay enough money, then I can fucking not ever think about this again. And especially if you feel like you didn't do it. Like if you wasn't the person that really knew that this was happening or you wasn't talking to the guy who was gonna do it, this was actually something that happened on the other side of the planet. But you know about it now, but it wasn't like you was privy to none of this shit ahead of time. Then you're gonna fight that. You're gonna go and say, no, fuck that. I got money. You are not gonna put no fucking murder for hire on me. I don't give a damn what y'all say. And so they come in there and say, I'm offering you this. You be like, no, I'm not doing 30 seconds. I'm gonna use every dime I got to fight this shit. Before I go to prison, I'm gonna have $4 because I'm using every dime I got against y'all motherfuckers. But is that or he'll go in there and say, damn, I tried my best to keep this low key, but these stupid motherfuckers went in there and messed up. You know, because he using. Because imagine that you doing imagine the idea of doing a murder for hire. You would assume if you got millions of dollars, you're gonna hire professional people who do this. You understand what I'm saying? Or people that know about this, or people that care about that. That's their world. You could either go to some party. They got movies about this shit. You could have went to some party in Hollywood and talked to somebody and been like, man, I gotta do a business. I gotta do. Oh, you do? Okay, well, introduce you to my buddy over here. And then that guy's like, yeah, well, if you do this, it's gonna be that. And then I mean, they do movies about shit like that. And then you decide to do this crime of a murder for hire, but it's like done with these professional people. Obviously, you don't know none of these motherfuckers. They could trick on you just the same. But it's supposed to be all done just like in the movies. Like all these people, that's what they do. We got to send this real hitman and all this bullshit. But obviously, that ain't reality. It's a movie, and so in reality, you're gonna probably trust the people you know, somebody who is not too far from understanding what you're going through, and see if they are handle it. Especially if they like that. You know what I mean? You're not gonna call your auntie or your nephew. You're gonna call somebody that's like that. And then, so it seemed like if you was investigating that Dirk knew these guys and he was gonna get them rap careers. That's what the people saying. He was gonna get them rap careers, and so that's why it was easy for them to try to do this because they was like, well, shit, if I'm gonna make it in the rap game, so I do it. Obviously, Dirk got a big fucking hill to fight because they didn't even involve him in the initial indictment. Think about that. The initial indictment is they indicted those guys. They never indicted Dirk. They arrested Dirk before he left the country. So it's a slight difference. He wasn't indicted to deal with the crime. He was arrested before he left the country. So it's almost like we are going to arrest you eventually for this crime. We'll believe we were. But we got these guys, so we got to get them to flip. But before they could flip, he was already trying to flip about this motherfucking country. Obviously, they heard it, and they ran over there and arrested him. So That's why they're sitting in jail under the idea of he was trying to flee. But technically, how could you say I'm trying to flee if I'm not connected to a crime? And y'all didn't. This is how his lawyers got to think. How am I connected to this murder for hire if you didn't put me in the indictment? And if you didn't put me in the indictment, then I can't be trying to flee because I'm not indicted. I'm able to live my life free as hell. So you're telling me I'm supposed to know that these guys did a crime and I'm supposed to be connected to them. So because they did a crime, I'm supposed to sit in my house and watch TV. I can't move. I can't go nowhere. I can't travel. That's not how it works. I'm free. You arrested them. If my name was in that indictment, then I would then be trying to flee. But you never put my name in that indictment. And the records would show in all the media that Durk's name was not indicted. He was not in the initial indictment. So that means that the cops and the police or the feds will have to go create a new indictment. And then at that point, he will be in the indictment. But up until today's point, he's only been arrested for murder for hire. But that's not because of his involvement in that crime. That's because they're trying to say you were trying to leave because we think you were connected to that crime, but you didn't even put me in the indictment. So I get to live free. I can't go off of what you think because I don't even fucking know you. And I can't go off of what those guys did because you didn't put me in the indictment. So technically, he's not involved with none of that shit. And you can arrest a person for anything at any point, especially if you're the cops. You can arrest anybody for any point. But the second half of that is the proof of it. So that's why his lawyers could come in that easily and say, if you didn't put him in the initial indictment, if he wasn't mentioned in those forums that y'all put out in the media and the internet grabbed it and talked all about it, he gets to leave the country if he chooses to. He gets to make flights to 1,000 he's a millionaire. He can order fucking flights all for every fucking weekend if he wants to, till he go broke. That's not illegal. So it's little semantics and little small things that his lawyer might have to pounce on to try to see if those things can be something that they can use as a leveraging stick. Because just because he may have grew up with them or knew them at some point, or even if they were signed to his record label, he's not their keeper. They are actually humans and grown. And if they choose to do something, ain't got shit to do with me. But again, with his rhymes, because I don't listen to his rhymes and I never heard too much of his songs except the major ones. So you can see it now where the guys are posting the lyrics and saying the stuff that he might have mentioned in his rap. So here come the lawyers swinging back saying, no, you said this, you mentioned that, you mentioned that. So then his lawyers coming back and saying it's art. You could say anything at that moment. He felt emotional about the person Von being killed and may have felt that feeling. So even if he felt that feeling, that's not like a cry out to guys to say go hurt somebody. That's me having a feeling, and then I made a song and I put it out. Everybody knew he was a friend or associated or a family member of Fine. So everybody knew that already. So he could say anything he wanted to say in a freedom of speech country. So his lawyers can fight those things, but the government or the feds get to actually make an indictment. See, that's all. Every single day that goes by, they get to make an indictment. And I think it's like up to 2 weeks, or 12 days, or 14 days after the arrest that they get to make the official indictment. So that means they got to go to a grand jury and say, this is what we got on Vine. I mean, on King, on Lil Durk. We want to make an indictment. And they might well do it. And then that means he's going to be sitting in jail fighting it and da da da. Because if they can connect him to the idea, see, the idea is that we believe you watch TV or you heard through the internet or you saw the ping on your phone of the messages coming across saying that they arrested these guys for killing it, what the killing is in 2020. So then that meant you was thinking to go, let me get the fuck out of town. So all he would have to prove is that he made those flight arrangements prior to that announcement of those guys being locked up or getting indicted. I was already gonna leave town. I already had set this shit up. We had went shopping. We bought these things. We was gonna go here. We was gonna go there. Like I met my buddy who was gonna meet me up there. This guy was. They was traveling over there. We was gonna all meet up. So these are the things that he had to prove to show that he was not trying to run. That he was trying to live his life because stuff could happen if other people get indicted in the world. If they lock up Suge Knight, that don't mean Snoop Dogg got to stop going outside the house. You understand what I'm saying? It's like he might have knew him. If they lock up anybody, that don't mean another person got to stop living because that person is not you. It's not your twin. Y'all not sitting in the same room. Now you get to live your life. But what they're trying to also say is that he promised them record deals. So they'll have to prove that after 2020, something in the record world happened for them coming through OTF, record company. Like maybe they did behind the scenes shit or something. He did the music videos for them, or maybe they put more music out, or maybe he let them do concerts with him or something. And then they could try to prove from that vantage point that he was trying to help them become artists after the fact. You know, that's still kind of shaky because if people are just people around you and then maybe you got downtime or it's just a moment when they made some kind of song and you liked it and it's like, oh hell no, we're gonna put some money behind that or we're gonna work on that to help you get that don't necessarily mean he was trying to do that. But again, when the prosecution is trying to put a case against you, they're going to build a storyline that's going to fit that reality of what they're trying to say. And if the jury or the judge hear these storylines and your storyline can't counter that with the same fervency or the same kind of level of doubt, then you can go down crazy. So this why this is like so big, but it's actually not as big because if you go back to the real fine print of the idea, anybody could get arrested for anything. So it's public opinion swirling. That don't mean he can get convicted on what they arrested him for because they have a heavy burden of proof. And the number one burden is knowledge. He has to have knowledge of what went on. So again, if they stole his credit card, if he lost his credit card, if somebody took it, if he didn't have notifications on, if he wasn't really privy, if that was nothing to do with his credit card, it was a whole other person's credit card that was paying for any of that stuff. How is Dirk connected to any of this shit? They would have to prove he had knowledge. I mean, proof of knowledge that he knew something was going to go down, and then he started making actions behind it. That's what they was trying to piece together with that message. I guess they got some kind of message where he said something like, "Don't put my name in don't put my name a part of nothing," or something like that. He said to some message, and they're trying to claim that he said that to the actual person who went out and did all the initiating of a crime. So it's a lot of stuff that's like media and newsworthy, and it's crazy. So we don't know what's going to happen. And it's like, to see somebody majorly get to that level of success, it's sad. It's sad to you because it's like, he came from Chicago. He came from a South Side. He came from a tough environment. And you want somebody to make it and stay up there. I think people like LL Cool J or Ice T or whoever, and they was always able to be in the industry since I was a little kid. So somebody from Chicago being able to do that and then be like sane because Kanye was still around, but you can see sometimes he ain't wrapped too tight in issues. But you just want the people to be successful. That's all, man. So y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think about all that, man. And we're gonna get up off of here, man. But I appreciate y'all watching, listening, and all that stuff.